I've always found cemeteries to be mysterious and haunting places, but little did I know that one visit to the old cemetery in my town would unravel a terrifying story. My name is Carl, and I am an amateur historian with a passion for unraveling the secrets of the past. The day began like any other, as I found myself strolling through the weathered tombstones, captivated by the eerie silence that surrounded me. As I wandered deeper into the cemetery, my eyes caught sight of a small, weather-beaten statue of an angel. It seemed to emanate an unsettling aura, drawing me closer with an inexplicable force. Suddenly, I heard a faint, almost inaudible whisper, as if carried by the wind itself. "Help me," it seemed to say. Instinctively, I began to search for the source of the voice, my heart pounding in my chest. As I rounded a corner, I stumbled upon a fresh grave. The sight made me freeze in horror. The name etched on the tombstone was that of a young girl, Emily Baker, her date of birth a mere 10 years ago, and the date of death, yesterday. Fear consumed me as I realized that the voice I had heard belonged to Emily, the girl who now lay lifeless beneath my feet. A shiver ran down my spine, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. How could this be happening? Who or what was responsible for this tragedy? I decided to delve deeper into the circumstances surrounding Emily's disappearance and subsequent death. My investigation led me to the local police station, where I discovered that Emily had been reported missing by her distraught parents. The police had launched a search, but it seemed futile. The town was filled with an air of despair as everyone hoped for Emily's safe return. Haunted by her voice and determined to find the truth, I visited Emily's family, offering my condolences and assistance. Her parents, Sarah and John Baker, welcomed me with tear-stained faces, their grief palpable. Sarah recounted the events leading up to Emily's disappearance. She explained that they had visited the cemetery to pay respects to a deceased relative when Emily had suddenly vanished. They searched frantically, calling out her name, but she was nowhere to be found. The more Sarah spoke, the more convinced I became that the cemetery held the key to the mystery. I promised the grieving parents that I would uncover the truth and bring justice to their daughter's untimely demise. With their blessing and my determination, I embarked on a quest that would take me to the darkest corners of our small town. Equipped with a flashlight and a heavy heart, I returned to the cemetery as nightfall cast its shadows upon the tombstones. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of my own footsteps. I had to be cautious, for I knew that the answers I sought lay hidden in the depths of this macabre place. I made my way to the angel statue that had beckoned me earlier. Its presence felt more ominous now, as if it were guarding a terrible secret. As I approached, a gust of wind rustled the trees overhead, and I heard that faint whisper again, "Help me." Determined, I reached out and touched the statue, and in that moment, a vision washed over me. I saw Emily, her eyes filled with fear, desperately trying to escape an unknown assailant. The vision revealed a hidden passage beneath the statue, concealed from prying eyes. With trembling hands, I pushed aside the statue, revealing a staircase that descended into darkness. My heart pounding, I cautiously descended the steps, guided only by the beam of my flashlight. The air grew colder, and a sense of foreboding filled the narrow passageway. Finally, I reached a hidden chamber, adorned with symbols and cryptic markings. The flickering light cast eerie shadows on the walls, revealing a chilling tableau, a shrine dedicated to the deceased. But there was something more, a chilling revelation that left me gasping for breath. Amidst the trinkets and memorabilia, I found a collection of photographs, snapshots of young children, including Emily. Fear gripped me as I realized the true nature of this chamber. It was a den of darkness, a place where innocence was stolen and lives were cut short. I quickly snapped photos of the shrine, determined to gather evidence of this heinous crime. As I turned to leave, my heart sank. The sound of footsteps echoed through the chamber, growing louder with each passing moment. Panic set in as I realized I was not alone. In the dim light, I caught a glimpse of a figure emerging from the shadows, a tall, menacing silhouette. The air grew thick with malice as our eyes locked, and I knew that my presence had been discovered. With a wicked smile, the figure lunged toward me, driven by a sinister intent. A desperate struggle ensued as I fought for my life against this unknown assailant. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I dodged blows and fought back with all my strength. The room became a battleground, a dark dance between life and death. In a final act of desperation, I managed to land a decisive blow, incapacitating my attacker. Gasping for breath, I surveyed the room, realizing that this encounter had exposed a depraved secret that had haunted our town for far too long. The police arrived soon after, responding to the chaos and my call for help. They apprehended the assailant, a disturbed individual who had preyed upon the innocence of children, using the cemetery as a macabre playground for his twisted desires. The evidence I had collected proved crucial in bringing this monster to justice. Though justice was served, the scars of this dark chapter in our town's history would forever remain. Emily's parents, while relieved to have closure, were left to mourn the loss of their beloved daughter. As for me, the cemetery would forever hold a somber place in my memories. It had been the backdrop of a haunting tale, one that reminded me of the fragility of life and the darkness that lurks in even the most tranquil of places. The story of Emily's tragic demise became a cautionary tale, a reminder to cherish and protect the innocence of youth. And as I walked away from the cemetery that fateful night, I vowed to honor Emily's memory by ensuring that her voice, and the voices of countless others, would never be forgotten. In the quiet town of Ravenswood, a place known for its ancient cemetery, a chilling mystery unfolded. My name is Emma, a young and curious journalist always seeking to uncover untold stories. Little did I know that my visit to the cemetery would plunge me into a haunting tale of secrets and tragedy. It all began on a misty autumn evening. Drawn to the eerie beauty of the cemetery, I found myself wandering amidst the tombstones, my footsteps muffled by fallen leaves. As I strolled through the silent rows of graves, I noticed a peculiar statue, an angel with outstretched wings. Its weathered stone surface seemed to hold a melancholic aura. Intrigued, I approached the statue, and an inexplicable chill ran down my spine. Just as I reached out to touch it, a whisper carried by the wind brushed against my ear. "Find me." The voice was soft yet desperate, as if pleading for help. My heart pounding, I scanned the surroundings, searching for the source of the voice. The whisper led me to a neglected corner of the cemetery, where I discovered a newly dug grave. The headstone bore the name Lucas Thompson, a boy of only 10 years, and the date of burial coincided with the day before. Fear mingled with curiosity as I realized the voice I had heard belonged to Lucas, the boy who now lay lifeless beneath the earth. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to dig deeper into the circumstances surrounding Lucas' untimely demise. Researching old newspaper archives, I discovered that Lucas had gone missing weeks ago. The townspeople had organized search parties, but their efforts had been in vain. The disappearance had cast a shadow of sorrow over Ravenswood, leaving everyone hoping for Lucas' safe return. Driven by a desire to shed light on this mystery, I reached out to Lucas' grieving parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. With their permission, I delved into their son's life and the events leading up to his disappearance. They shared stories of a kind-hearted and adventurous boy, loved by all who knew him. Mrs. Thompson, her eyes filled with tears, recounted the day Lucas vanished. They had visited the cemetery to pay respects to a deceased relative when Lucas had wandered off, chasing after a colorful butterfly. Panic ensued as they frantically searched for him, but he seemed to have vanished without a trace. Haunted by the desperate plea in Lucas' voice, I promised his parents that I would do everything in my power to uncover the truth and bring closure to their shattered lives. With their blessing and my determination, I embarked on a quest to unveil the secrets hidden within Ravenswood. Armed with determination and a sense of trepidation, I returned to the cemetery, determined to unravel the enigma surrounding Luca's disappearance and tragic fate. As night fell and cast eerie shadows, I felt an overwhelming sense of unease, knowing that the secrets I sought were concealed within the darkness. Making my way back to the angel statue, I noticed a faint glow emanating from its base. Kneeling down, I discovered a small, worn-out diary hidden among the fallen leaves. Its pages were filled with the musings and adventures of a young boy, Lucas Thompson. The diary entries revealed Lucas' fascination with the cemetery and its mysteries. He had written about a hidden pathway leading to an old mausoleum, rumored to hold the answers to the secrets of Ravenswood. Filled with both apprehension and curiosity, I knew that the mausoleum held the key to understanding Lucas' fate. Following the clues left in the diary, I located the entrance to the hidden pathway, obscured by overgrown vines and decaying foliage. As I cautiously navigated the winding path, a sense of foreboding intensified. The air grew heavy with the weight of the unknown, and an unsettling silence enveloped me. Finally, I reached the old mausoleum, its stone structure weathered by time and neglect. Pushing open the heavy doors, I stepped into a dimly lit chamber filled with ancient tombs and faded portraits. It was an eerie sight, and a sense of trepidation gripped my heart. Among the tombstones, one caught my attention, a peculiar inscription that read, "The Guardian of Secrets." Intrigued, I approached, and as if triggered by my presence, a hidden mechanism unlocked a hidden compartment beneath the tomb. Inside, I discovered a collection of letters and photographs, a trail of evidence that unraveled a chilling tale. The letters revealed a dark secret that had plagued Ravenswood for decades. Generations ago, a malevolent figure known as the Shadow Keeper had used the cemetery as a playground for his sinister desires. He targeted vulnerable children, kidnapping them and leaving behind a trail of despair and grief. Lucas, it seemed, had stumbled upon this secret and had become a victim of the Shadow Keeper. The photographs depicted other missing children, their innocence stolen, their lives tragically cut short. As I absorbed the weight of this horrifying revelation, a faint sound caught my attention. Footsteps echoed through the chamber, growing closer with each passing moment. Panic seized me as I realized I was no longer alone in the mausoleum. A dark figure emerged from the shadows. A figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. It was the dreaded Shadow Keeper, determined to protect his secrets at any cost. In a desperate bid for survival, I fled through the winding corridors of the mausoleum, with the Shadow Keeper in relentless pursuit. My heart pounded, my breath ragged, as I desperately searched for an escape route. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I stumbled upon a hidden passage that led me to safety. Gasping for breath, I emerged from the mausoleum, the night air filling my lungs with a newfound sense of freedom. Determined to bring justice to Lucas and the other innocent children, I shared the evidence I had gathered with the local authorities. The police launched a full-scale investigation, and the town rallied together, determined to rid Ravenswood of the Shadow Keeper's dark presence once and for all. Months passed, and the truth gradually came to light. The identity of the Shadow Keeper was unmasked, and he was apprehended, his reign of terror finally brought to an end. Though the scars of the past would forever haunt Ravenswood, the town found solace in knowing that justice had been served. As for Lucas, his memory lived on in the hearts of the townspeople. A memorial was erected in his honor, a symbol of remembrance and resilience. The cemetery that had once held only sadness and secrets now became a place of solace and healing. Stan looked out the window of his small apartment, his gaze fixed on the old cemetery across the street. It was a place that had always intrigued him, with its crumbling tombstones and overgrown grass. The air felt heavy, and a sense of unease washed over him every time he glanced in that direction. One gloomy evening, as the sun began its descent, Stan found himself unable to resist the pull of the cemetery any longer. He grabbed his coat, slipped it on, and made his way towards the rusty iron gate. The gate creaked open with an eerie groan, as if protesting his intrusion. Walking along the narrow, winding path, Stan felt a shiver run down his spine. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional whisper of the wind through the trees. The air was thick with a musty scent, carrying the weight of history. As he made his way deeper into the cemetery, Stan noticed a peculiar tombstone that stood out from the rest. It was adorned with intricate carvings and seemed remarkably well preserved compared to the others. The inscription read, "Here lies Amelia Morgan, beloved daughter and sister, taken too soon." Intrigued by the mystery surrounding Amelia's grave, Stan decided to investigate further. He visited the local library and delved into the archives, hoping to uncover the secrets buried within the cemetery's past. Hours turned into days as he meticulously studied old newspapers, birth records, and obituaries. Finally, after weeks of research, Stan discovered a tragic tale. Amelia Morgan had died under mysterious circumstances at the young age of 17. The local newspaper reported that her death had been ruled as an accident, but rumors circulated that foul play was involved. Driven by a newfound determination, Stan set out to uncover the truth behind Amelia's untimely demise. He interviewed elderly residents of the town, hoping that their memories would provide valuable insights. Each conversation only deepened the intrigue, as whispers of a long-forgotten scandal emerged. One elderly woman, Mrs. Johnson, finally revealed a piece of the puzzle. She recounted how, years ago, a wealthy family had owned the land where the cemetery now stood. The Morgans, she said, were notorious for their dark secrets and unscrupulous dealings. Amelia's death was just one chapter in a twisted family history. As Stan pieced together the fragments of the past, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Shadows danced in the corners of his vision, and he heard soft footsteps echoing behind him. The more he dug, the more he felt a growing sense of dread. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled overhead, Stan returned to the cemetery armed with a flashlight and a determination to confront the secrets that lay hidden beneath the tombstones. The rain poured relentlessly, turning the path into a muddy mess, but he pressed on. As he approached Amelia's grave, Stan's heart pounded in his chest. He raised his flashlight, illuminating the tombstone, and froze in horror. The inscription had changed. It now read, "Here lies Stan," a curious soul who couldn't resist the call of the cemetery. Fear consumed him, and he turned to flee, but the once familiar path had vanished. The trees twisted and contorted, blocking his escape. Panic set in as he realized that he was trapped, surrounded by the graves of those who had met untimely ends. Stan stumbled through the labyrinth of tombstones, his heart pounding in his ears. The shadows seemed to whisper, their voices filled with malevolence. Each step he took led him deeper into the sinister embrace of the cemetery. As he desperately searched for an exit, the rain poured down in torrents, soaking him to the bone. The wind howled, echoing his fear and despair. It felt as though the very essence of the cemetery had come alive, conspiring against him. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, a spectral apparition clad in tattered garments. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, fixing Stan with an intense gaze. The apparition's voice, a haunting whisper, resonated through the air, chilling him to his core. "You've meddled in matters that should have remained buried," the ghostly figure murmured, its voice a mix of sorrow and anger. "Now you shall pay the price for your curiosity." Stan's mind raced, desperately seeking a way out. With a surge of adrenaline, he summoned the last shreds of his courage and confronted the apparition. "I seek the truth," he declared, his voice trembling. "What really happened to Amelia Morgan?" The The specter hesitated for a moment, its ethereal form flickering. Amelia was murdered, it finally admitted, its voice filled with sorrow. Her death was orchestrated by her own family, a twisted web of betrayal and deceit. As the truth unfolded, Stan's determination intensified. He refused to become just another tragic tale buried within the cemetery's dark history. With newfound resolve, he demanded, "Show me the way out. Release me from this curse." The ghostly figure raised a translucent hand, pointing towards a narrow path that had materialized amidst the chaos. "Go," it whispered, its voice tinged with a mixture of resignation and hope. "May your quest for justice bring peace to the restless souls trapped within." Stan sprinted towards the path, each step a race against time. The ground trembled beneath him, as if the cemetery itself fought to keep him within its clutches. But his determination prevailed, and he emerged from the suffocating grasp of the graveyard. Gasping for breath, Stan collapsed onto the wet grass just outside the cemetery gates. The storm raged on, but he was finally free. The weight of the truth he had uncovered lay heavy upon him, and he knew his journey was far from over. Armed with the knowledge he had gained, Stan embarked on a mission to bring justice to Amelia Morgan and expose the dark secrets of her family. He dug deeper, uncovering evidence that would shake the town to its core. With the help of dedicated journalists and relentless investigation, the truth was revealed. The Morgans' crimes were exposed, and their wealth and influence crumbled beneath the weight of public scrutiny. Amelia's memory was finally given the justice it deserved. In the wake of the revelations, the cemetery underwent a transformation. The overgrown grass was trimmed, the tombstones repaired, and a serene atmosphere replaced the once ominous aura. The restless spirits found solace as the town paid homage to their forgotten stories. As for Stan, he became a symbol of resilience and determination, inspiring others to seek the truth and fight for justice. The cemetery remained a constant reminder of the horrors that could be buried within the human soul, urging the living to confront their own darkness. Ryan had always been drawn to the mysteries of the past. As an aspiring archaeologist, he found himself captivated by the stories hidden within old graveyards. So when he received an invitation from a renowned historian to visit an ancient cemetery tucked away in a remote village, he couldn't resist. The village of Ravenswood held a chilling reputation. Its cemetery was said to be haunted, filled with eerie tales and unsettling encounters. Ryan's excitement mingled with apprehension as he arrived at the rusty iron gates. The wind whispered through the crumbling headstones, casting long, eerie shadows that danced in the moonlight. Professor Adler, the historian, welcomed Ryan with a somber expression. Clutching a flickering lantern, he guided Ryan through the overgrown pathways of the cemetery. The air was heavy with a sense of foreboding, as if the spirits of the departed were watching their every move. As they delved deeper into the cemetery, Ryan's eyes were drawn to a particularly decrepit mausoleum. Its weathered stone walls were covered in moss, and the heavy iron door creaked ominously in the wind. Professor Adler paused and spoke in a hushed tone. "This is the resting place of the Montgomery family," the professor explained. "Legend has it that their souls never found peace, forever trapped within these cold walls." Ryan's curiosity piqued, and he pressed the professor for more details. Professor Adler hesitated, then reluctantly shared the tragic tale of the Montgomerys. They had been a prominent family in the village, known for their wealth and influence. However, their greed and dark deeds eventually caught up with them. Rumors swirled about their involvement in occult practices and dealings with malevolent forces. Whispers of curses and unexplained deaths surrounded the family. Their final act of wickedness led to a gruesome fate. Each member died under mysterious circumstances, their bodies laid to rest within the confines of the very mausoleum before them. Eager to uncover the truth, Ryan and the professor entered the chilling structure, the heavy door groaning in protest. The air grew colder, and a musty odor permeated the dimly lit chamber. The walls were adorned with faded portraits of the Montgomerys, their eyes seemingly following their every move. As Ryan's gaze fell upon the portrait of Isabella Montgomery, the matriarch of the family, a sudden gust of wind extinguished the lantern. Darkness enveloped them, broken only by the pale moonlight streaming through a crack in the ceiling. A faint whisper echoed through the chamber, sending shivers down Ryan's spine. Ryan's heart pounded in his chest as the whisper grew louder, filling the air with an otherworldly presence. It seemed to be calling to him, urging him to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within the Montgomery mausoleum. Feeling a mix of fear and curiosity, Ryan fumbled in the darkness, searching for his flashlight. As he finally illuminated the room, the beam revealed a hidden passage tucked away in the corner of the chamber. It was a narrow, winding tunnel leading deeper into the depths of the cemetery. With the professor by his side, Ryan mustered his courage and ventured into the narrow passage. The damp walls seemed to close in around them, and the air grew heavier with each step they took. The sound of their own footsteps echoed eerily, mingling with distant whispers that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. Finally, they emerged into a hidden chamber beneath the cemetery, its walls lined with ancient, crumbling parchments and forgotten artifacts. It was a hidden sanctuary where the Montgomery family had delved into forbidden knowledge and dark rituals. Among the relics, Ryan discovered a journal written by Isabella Montgomery. Its pages were filled with her descent into madness and her desperate attempts to ward off the evil that had consumed their family. She spoke of restless spirits, vengeful apparitions, and a curse that bound them to the cemetery for eternity. As Ryan read on, a chilling presence filled the chamber. Shadows writhed along the walls, and a cold breeze swept through the room, carrying with it a bone-chilling voice. It was a warning from beyond the grave, a plea for release from the tortured souls trapped in the Montgomery legacy. Determined to bring peace to the restless spirits, Ryan and Professor Adler delved deeper into their research, uncovering the incantations and rituals needed to break the curse. Armed with ancient texts and their unwavering resolve, they'd returned to the mausoleum, ready to perform the ritual that would release the Montgomery family from their torment. As the final words of the incantation left Ryan's lips, a blinding light erupted from within the mausoleum, illuminating the darkness and banishing the malevolent presence that had haunted the cemetery for centuries. The curse was broken, and a sense of serenity settled upon the once haunted grounds. In the wake of their journey, the village of Ravenswood finally found peace. The Montgomery Mausoleum became a symbol of redemption, a place of remembrance for the souls who had suffered unjustly. Ryan and Professor Adler were hailed as heroes, their names forever etched in the village's history. Years later, as Ryan reflected on the experience, he understood the true power of the past. It held both darkness and redemption, and by confronting the horrors that had plagued the cemetery, he had not only uncovered the truth, but also helped guide lost souls to their eternal rest. The cemetery of Ravenswood remained a place of intrigue, but the haunting whispers and restless apparitions were replaced by an eerie tranquility, a reminder of the horrors that once gripped the village and the resilience of those who dared to face them.